What the to be doing? What's poppin'? Ain't no that stop it. Oh, what's this button do? Oh, interesting. What up, EJ? Yo, what's good, everybody? You feel me? What up, what up, what up? Got my Arizona folks in here. What up, bud? Hey, man, the state of this basketball world. Man, let me tell you. American basketball is in trouble. What up, Tony? What up, what up, what up? West Texas in the building. We got a special guest from the East Coast popping in tonight. Talk about this, man. The state of American basketball is in trouble. I think overseas, like the foreigners, they really taking over. Like, we going over there, they coming over here. I mean, each opportunity is, you know what I'm saying, each his own, but yeah, man, I think American basketball is in trouble. It's in a state for sure. I think we play too much, and I think that's why the world has caught up. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, waiting on my guests to pop up in this thing real quick. I don't even know which one he gonna pop in from, but let me see. What y'all thoughts on this? Let me see. Let's go smooth. There you go. I requested. All right. Who requested? Ashley. What is it? What
is it? I'm tired. Why you say, what did this people? There it is.
Huh?
I said my camera was just.
Oh, there you go. What up now?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, nothing much.
How you
Uh,
doing?
doing good, doing good.
Doing great.
So, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, man, where you located.
My name is Coach Greg Canzader. I'm located here in Putnam, Connecticut. Originally from Boston, Massachusetts. So shout out to Beantown and everybody in it. You know. But yeah, I coach for Putnam Science Academy, girls basketball team, and
Is that private school?
it is a
Private
professional.
school.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to ask
Yeah,
that.
no, that's I mean that's pretty much it. I've I'm a basketball lifer as much as you are. Been coaching for going on 15 some odd years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I also run a program here called Sis Run, Sis underscore runs on IG. So shout
Okay.
out to Sis, the big pickup style program I started during the pandemic.
Okay.
Uh, so we're going on our sixth summer there. And well, yeah, here to talk about this.
Got you. So first question is somebody popped a question in here already. It says, when is the last time USA didn't win the gold medal?
Mm.
And and
Yeah.
I guess you could use that as a point,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess like when you talk about the lower level, when you talk about high school, you talk about college, like I think the transitioning, like you're seeing a lot of foreigners more than ever on college programs, on like, high school programs. Like people are moving into the countries to be able for opportunity. So I think, yeah, you could say that at the highest level. I mean, that's the most talented people in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course they're going. They're. I don't want to say that. I guess they're going. They're supposed to win, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like the college is the best players in the world in a sense. Like when it comes to that point, and he says like there are anomalies for sure, but we still dominate. So
I mean,
take
I
on
do
that.
think USA dominate though. That's a fact.
so I say this: one, USA is still in a great space in terms of basketball. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's the best talent right now today. Best talent today is here in the
Okay.
U.S. All right, we all agree on that. We all-
Yeah.
Um, now here's what I say about that. I think what you're starting to see is a real influx of some of the teams that we know as the best young college teams in the world, the best amateur teams in the world,
Mm-hmm.
or in the U.S. Some of the best amateur teams in the U.S. are starting to have an influx of international talent, right? I
Right.
think I think first that starts in Canada, right? So let's start
Mm-hmm.
there. Canada has really started to overwhelm, uh, some of the I think the grassroots league when it comes to your Nike, your Nike circuit, your Adidas circuit. It's a number of really good Canadian talent that have come in, whether it's individual players or teams in itself, and, um, and impact players on certain teams, right?
Yeah.
I also I also think you're now starting to have real influx of both European and African players that are coming in and stepping into the amateur circuit and being impact players.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what now is starting to happen is you see some of the best talent in the world, whether it's in Europe, it's in Canada, it's in Africa. Um, and even in some cases, I got two kids from Russia
Mm-hmm.
that are good. One's going to the Ivy League, and they are trying to come to the U.S. to live out their dreams and play against the
Right.
best. Right. So you're going to have some of the best talent, the very best talent from overseas come here and
Right.
say, I want to see what where my talent shakes up. I want
Mm-hmm.
to play against, your Leah Chavez and Kalina and whoever it is, right?
Right.
That's runs, you know, in our space. They want to test their might against them. And quite frankly, I think this is where we might get shaky. I'm sure we'll get into this. Is the U.S. is starting to kind of we got to start building the right kind of mentality when it comes to development,
Mm-hmm.
but also the way we approach the game in terms of winning, like
Right.
being like making our standard as far as being just winners.
Do
Because
you think we focus on winning though? I don't think we focus really on winning. I think we focus I think we focus on too much winning early in a sense. Like I think we focus on winning too much early, if that makes sense. Like at a younger age. Like yes, I think the minute winning mentality should start young, but I don't think like third, fourth grade you should be focused on winning ball games in a sense. I think you should be focused on the kids getting better. And I think overseas they focus on development. Like they don't play freaking 4 or 5 games on a weekend
absolutely,
like we do. You feel what I'm
absolutely
saying?
not.
So while we playing games, they developing every day of the week, and they may play 2 games that whole week, or maybe even one, whatever the case may be. So I think we focus on winning too much at the early stages.
To your point, it's a great point. To your point, we are focused on. We have become used to U.S. domination, right?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of walk into that aura early on, like you said, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and then we almost expect it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
looking some elsewhere for the other things that come with this game, like you know, whether it be all the things that come with playing on the best circuit, like whether it be the accolades, the gear, the highlight, the all of that attention. It's all this attention as opposed to putting your foot down on actually winning, because that's where the attention really comes from. If you're a winner,
Right.
but you are staunching your development throughout your career or throughout your program, you'll get all the attention that will come with that. Whereas I think you have players in Europe, in other parts of the world, that's the only thing that matters. You
Mm-hmm.
can't really be discussed in that light unless you are really winning,
Right.
whether that's in France, whether that's in England, whether that's in Belgium, who's now being a real hot spot for international talent. Finland, Sweden, like you got to go over there and win some things.
Mm-hmm.
Where it'll come. I think to your point, we got look. Let's just be frank. The kids in the U.S. Um, are truly concerned about getting the buckets and getting the highlights. And if they didn't win that particular game,
Mm-hmm.
they got the 25.
Right. They cool with that.
Cool. It's cool. And whether it's boys side, whether it's the girls side, that's the mentality that's gonna break us. That's the mentality that has us slipping in some of these international tournaments where we've seen Canada win some. We've seen other teams come in and have major upsets. So while the US is dominating now, and I don't think that's just gonna completely fall off, um, you're gonna see you're gonna see Gabby Williams and her crew come in at a younger level,
Mm-hmm.
start to really surprise people. Um, and we just got to we have to be very careful of that because, I think the U.S. has got to really protect our part of the game and our intention.
Right.
I think the mentality and the mentality and approach it's got to shift.
Do
Got to shift.
you feel like it'll happen? Do you feel like the shift will happen quicker on the girl side than the men's side, or do you think the women are a little behind on the women's side as far as like when it comes to international players?
I I do. I think the shift. So when it comes to the men's side, like there's the physical talent,
Right.
right? The physical talent is is now being grown elsewhere. So now you're seeing the some kind of closure of the gap.
Mm-hmm.
But I think on the women's side, it, I think what we all know that skill reigns supreme
Right.
on the women's side, and I think that's where the fundamental value of European basketball, and even in Africa, there's some really skilled academies in Africa where you got young ladies at 6'4", 6'5",
Mm-hmm.
6'6", Senegal, Nigeria, Mali, that can do a number of things,
Right.
and they're getting looked at. They're getting looked at by some of the top schools. So, don't play yourself now. Like there's some real skill elsewhere besides the
Right.
U. And we got to really focus on developing that skill at a young age, like as opposed to like you said, playing 4 games, 5 games in a weekend. Like, yeah, it's cool, but like, there's so much to be said about just getting better. Yeah,
Right. So my thing is, I think we had discussion like a few conversations ago. Like, where do you really find the time to get better when you're playing so many games? Because you still recovery is part of the process. So like, if you're working out and then you having to go play these games, now you're seeing the injuries come up. So now these overseas or international players, they bodies don't not even taking the type of pounding that our bodies are taking. Our bodies are breaking down while their bodies is still good. Like, you know what I'm saying? They ain't got as many miles on the tires as
yeah,
we do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I also think that's a great point. I think the their workload, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
pride when it comes to Eurobasket, right? Like that's a prideful event
Right.
in Europe. Um, Canada has their events as well as AfroBasket in Africa. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I think but it's twofold. So stay with me here.
Okay.
While they're coming over and participating in their national team events, participating in the Eurobasket stuff, etc. Um, I think there's this shiny light over the U.S. that says, well, there's this thing called A, and I want to now go over there. That's about because just as much as I'm proud of my country, and I want to go play in these events. I also want to be known as an elite player.
Right.
I know elite players in the U.S., they the best of the best play on EYBL, 3SSB, Under Armour circuit. And you do have kids in there, like, shout out to my man Thomas in Exodus, but you got Exodus in Europe coming on the scene, and they're
Yeah.
gonna make
I
big
actually ran into them at one of the hotels,
they're gonna
and I was like,
big
Exodus Europe is like that's crazy.
they're gonna make big waves. I mean, you got kids, as recently I think she was visiting TCU. I think her name was Lisa, but there's so many kids on that level, right? What's her name? Uh, 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 Savvy Swords. Oh, Swords. She can play,
Hmm.
and she's made a name for herself coming from Canada. So like, but also they've made names for themselves by playing, on the circuit. So I don't think that the workload is gonna hurt them when it comes to them coming over and trying to play on
Hmm.
AAU. But I also think if it gets to a point where we start if they start sending kids over even at a younger age, that's where we can see a bit of a difference. But I do think, yeah, you got a point. There's not the workload, in terms of games that they have in the U.S. that they have in Europe and other places.
Right. It says somebody said honest question. Are you sure we're not falling victim to notable celebrities on this topic? When we were coming up, you got better by playing against the top competition on a regular basis. So let me.
Okay.
You understand the question?
Yeah. So
Oh,
I do. I'm a big believer in that, right? I'll be the first to tell you, my prep schedule. I I, I don't run from anybody, right? I'm
okay.
the best talent in the country. I could, if we could, if our schedule fitted, we wanted to play Montverde, right?
Mm-hmm.
We try to get a game at Blue High, but just with the prep regulations and school regulations, we just couldn't make it
Right.
work. But hopefully we do that next. So let me just say that I'm big on playing the best players, period.
Okay.
But I'm also saying that you can't substitute getting better. You can't substitute that. And I think while you get better playing against better competition, um, I do think if you are constantly running yourself into the ground of playing on weekend after weekend over and over, 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 and again, for the best players, right? Maybe or for the top percentile, this doesn't matter, right? Maybe for your Chavez's and them, maybe it don't matter because they're just built a little different. But if you got your your middle ground prospect that are trying to make way,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it suits them better to continue to get better and spread out that workload. Whereas, you know, I think I'm trying to think which one of my kids they'll probably pop in here in a minute. Don't be surprised if they do. Uh,
Okay.
but I want to, I'm willing to bet that over the course of they might play in 2 international events, a year, right,
Mm-hmm.
or per summer. Um, and then, like for example, my kids they'll come in here. We got 35 games slate as far as the regular season. And
Okay.
most of them are taking off and they're playing in their international events and playing in their national team camps, and that's it. And that's it. Other than that, they're focused on getting better and doing it. But I just think there's for the top percentile that might feel true, right? That might be true. But I also think when you come to your what I don't know if you want to call them 3-star, 2-star kids,
Mm-hmm.
it might serve them to focus on development just a little bit more.
Gotcha.
I
Um.
like to ask this question, and always when somebody asks it, what do coaches look for in a good athlete? Y'all want to answer that?
Uh.
Mm. I mean, that's it's a handful of an answer. Go ahead. Ed. What do you say?
You said
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Uh. I think good attitude is one. I think you could be. I always go back to like scoring. Like I think if you can put the ball in the hole, like there's a team for you somewhere out there. Like at the end of the day, those loud points add up. Like I keep saying it, but like yes, maybe that scoring doesn't translate from your high school, but like AAU, if you're putting the ball in the hole, like you're gonna get looked
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day. I feel like everybody needs somebody that can put the ball in the hole when that 10 seconds come up on that shot clock at the end of the day, because there's not many people that can do that. So I feel like if you put the ball in the hole, you're going to get looked at. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, we're not looking for a score." Like, yeah, you're not looking. Everybody in college, for the most part, like they put up points. So when you look at it, like you might not be a scorer, but like you gonna be able to put the ball in the hole some type of way. Like whether that's shooting, whether that's fast break, whether that's being a slasher, like you know how to put the ball in the hole at the end of the day, you gonna have a spot somewhere. Of course, like being defense, like playing defense, like you can't just be a liability. At least allow your person to slide them 2 times, like turn them 2 times, like give me 2 slides. Like that's what I say. 2 to 3 slides, you good. After that, they gotta pick the ball up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you can't just have straight line drives. And just ask questions at the end of the day. If you don't know, ask the question, bro. Like don't be afraid to ask questions. The more you know, the more you knowledgeable, the more you're able to get on the floor. You make mistakes because now they know at the end of the day, like, okay, this person is serious. They asking questions. So yeah, that's my take on what his coach is looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Coaches are certainly looking for people to score the ball. You can't ever you can't ever see somebody on the circuit or on the prep school level and say they can't score the ball, and say that they can score the ball but they can't fit somewhere else. Like if you
Hmm.
score the ball, somebody will find you.
Exactly.
You know that, but I also think shooting's at a premium now.
Yep.
So if you can shoot the ball in whether it be different actions, if you shoot the ball off a 1-2 step, if you can shoot the ball off catching it off two, if you can shoot the ball off one dribble, right, and just step in the gap or step
Hmm.
off a pick and roll, and you can shoot the ball and shoot it the same way. Um, I think that's at a premium. Coaches are absolutely looking for that. I think coaches right now are kids that can catch and shoot at a
Two.
high rate.
Yep.
If you can just catch and shoot at a high rate, and you got good size and good form, you got great IQ, they'll find a space for it. I think the other thing is, um, I don't think it's anything really specific as opposed to you gotta have a translatable skill. You gotta have a defined trait that says I'm gonna go on whatever game that I'm in. This is how I'm gonna impact.
Hmm.
So if you're a for example, if you're a 6'1" kid that can guard, you know, damn near 1 through 4 or sometimes even 5,
Right.
find a place for you, right?
Right.
Especially if you got the IQ and you run the floor hard, right? And you've got incredible stamina, they're gonna find a place for you. So I think that's really it. If you've got um, that 1 to 2 translatable skills that says, okay, I can guard my position, multiple
Hmm.
positions at a high rate, great. If what you bring on the floor, if you can pass ahead and initiate your team into any offensive set, while knocking down several open shots during the game,
Hmm.
that's a great athlete as well. But you got to be able to think the game as well. Within all that, you got to be able to think the game and make reads and make right decisions because um, as you get up in talent, so you
And
also got
I want to come back to that point where you got to be able to think the game. But I want to answer this question first. It said, would you pick a player based off their defense abilities? I guess alone. I'm gonna say it depends because yes, if you can guard, at the end of the day, like you got to be able to bring something else on the offensive end of the table. Like I can't just
When you
I
say that, though, what you mean? Because
like you got to be able to hit shots. You can't just be on the court and not be able to hit
I have
shots.
a Okay, obviously you can't just.
I'm not saying correct your own shot. I'm just saying be able to hit shots. Like whether that's going back to catches too. You can't just be straight defensively. Like
But I do. But to answer that question, I do think that a coach would pick a player just based off their defensive abilities. Like,
I would.
yeah,
Shit.
yeah, I think so. I think a coach would. If you a lockdown defender, if you like,
but you
if
gotta be
that's what.
elite. You gotta be elite in that defensive spot. Like you can't just be like, oh, okay, they are defensive players.
Well,
Like you really
yeah,
gotta
for sure.
be.
But I'm just
You
going
gotta
off your
be really
question,
shutting
like,
people down.
right. But I'm just looking at that question. I would
Yeah.
pick a player based off their defensive abilities. If they are like, no, you can keep asking as many questions as you. What did I freeze?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You had pros.
froze for a second.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
But
Yeah, you can ask as many questions as you want.
to your point, real quick, you look. First of all, if you are five, if you are 6'4", 6'5", 6'5", and that's what you do, if you run the floor, if you can rim run, catch the ball, and you can go protect the rim without completely taking yourself out of position in your team's defensive structure, I'm gonna find a place for you, right?
But
So
that's
that's
what I'm saying. But they able
But
to
just
bring
like
something on the offensive
what he
end
just
though.
said. But look, the example, like Pat Bell, like he ain't no crazy scorer.
Bro, that's what y'all felt. Pat Brad was a scorer.
Pat Bev was like
Pat
He
Bev
can
was
okay, but
that.
listen,
Pat
okay,
Bev was a
okay, that's probably
scorer.
not a good example. You're right,
That's not a good
but
example at
that's not a good
all.
Pat Bev,
example.
Pat Bev
Pat
was
Bev
like
can score.
he was like that.
Yeah,
He was
you're
like
right, you're right, you're right. But
that.
okay, yeah, you're right. Either
But
his shots, move without the ball, getting second chance points, running the floor. Yes, like there are other. Yes, I agree. This says either hit shots or move without the ball, getting second chance points, running the floor, high level awareness, very coachable. I would take a player like that, even if that player cannot hit shots. I agree. Like I don't think that you have to be able to make a shot. You got multiple people on the team. There's people on the team that can do
Well,
that.
at
I'm
a
not.
certain level, let me. Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I agree with you. I think when you get to a certain level, you can't stay on the floor for lengthy periods of time without being that person that
Come
can.
on,
I
man.
agree. You become
So
a
That's what I'm
liability.
saying.
You can
you
become a
so
liability.
so think about this.
Dennis Rodman,
If
no scorer but great defender and
well,
rebounder.
He's 6'10",
let,
6'9".
let's
Come
let's
on,
think.
man. What we
Right.
talking about?
But let's think about this. If Hannah, and again this is a big if Hannah didn't have a big perimeter game and all she could do was turn people and run the floor and just make layups, like if all she could do was just make an open layup, but and she had let's just say she had no perimeter game whatsoever. She couldn't shoot it from outside, none of that. There would be a limit to how much we what we can do with her, right?
Exactly.
It'd just be a limit. What can we get on the floor? Sure, but there would be a limit as to what we could do with her. So I think there's just a limit when it
Yeah,
comes to.
it's a limit, bro.
There's a
Like,
limit. There's a limit. Would
man,
I take a player?
you might give me
I'm
5 or
taking.
6 minutes a game or something like that. Like, let
I'm
me
taking
get you.
a player. I'm taking.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying. Like, you got to be able to make shots at the end of the day. I'm not saying you gonna take those 5 or 6 shots a game. You may take 3, 4. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me get at least make 2 of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh, I'm
That
with.
makes a difference.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you.
So my thing is going back to you saying players being able to think the
Yeah.
game. I think that's why at the end of the day, I think the overseas game is really, or the international players are starting to trickle over here because they actually think the game over there. They do a lot of ball movement over there.
Yeah.
Over here, we do a lot of ISO ball. We do a lot of one-on-one type actions. We do a lot of transitions. So you don't really have to think a lot when you doing those type of sets or motions, like when you playing ISO ball, when you playing, because it's based off just reaction. It's not based off reads, like at the end of the day. So I think that's why you see a lot of international players, especially at the college team, being able to transition over here early, and you see a lot of standout. Like I think this past weekend at the high school event, not even purposely, but I interviewed three international players just because of the way they was able to make the game look easy. Sienna Betts was top 2 player in the nation. Then you had this girl from Arizona Compass. Then you had Australia team. Like
Oh yeah,
it,
them Aussie teams move that ball.
yeah, they
Move
moved the ball, man. They play hard on defense.
that
Like
ball.
every time I interview them, they always say that we just play hard. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
they get the concept of ball movement, team ball. Over here is kind of a let me get mine type. You know what I'm saying? So even in the girls' space, like yes, the girls' space is better basketball, pure basketball, but it's moments where it's like, okay, get the ball, go do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. We got a number of sets over here at Putnam where, I was glued to the Olympics, and I'm taking something here from Serbia, uh, something over here from Spain, um, because those type of things, like, you got to make reads, right?
mm-hmm,
At high level is about making reads, and I understand, like, there's a lot of teams, especially in the U.S., they'll play in a system where whether it's a dribble drive or they'll just play within rules. They'll give their teams a set of rules and say, this is how we're going to play. Outside of that, you can do you, right? Just be
right,
creative and make strong finishes, and take them on shot. We talking about, again, at the highest level. You can't, sometimes you can't just say go and play within rules. You're gonna have to run some offense
mm-hmm,
and be able to know that you got to flare off this particular set as opposed to coming off, the curl or the pin down like you're supposed to. And again, I think at the very, very, very highest level in the U.S., a lot of those girls know that. But when we get lower and lower and lower and lower, um, you'll find that a lot of those international prospects, it becomes natural to them. Why?
mm-hmm,
Because they've been doing it since about fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, or 10, 11, 12 years old. Like they've
yep.
been doing those style offenses even since then. So, yeah, you gotta be able to think the game early on, and there's some good work being done here in the U.S., but we gotta stick to that thinking the game part.
So do you think we're falling? Do you think we're behind as far as the thinking the part, thinking the game in the U.S.?
Well, the reason why I'm not going to say we're behind is because the basketball minds, right? The coaches are still here, right?
Okay.
They're still very, very bright coaches um, that know a world of basketball that is going to help you, whether you're playing an international play or whether you're playing domestic play or AAU play, whatever it is. But I think habits, right? We're all creatures of habits and what we see. And if we to continue to see the best of the best kind of go through them and emulate just doing them, like, you're gonna have a number of kids thinking that's the way to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're so I commend the coaches that are integrating a number of different style of offenses and even defenses to their programs, man. Like, you can't substitute getting better up here. And that just starts with really good coaching. That just
Mm-hmm.
starts with good coaching, putting that type of stuff in front of you at a young age.
Gotcha. So do you feel like it's a lack of good coaching nowadays?
Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's some coaches out there that yell and don't exactly know what they're doing. Like, let's just
Mm-hmm.
there are plenty of those. And I've even seen them at whether it's the highest level of 3SSB and Nike circuit. Um, so I think as the talent rises, I think there's an expectation that these players can just carry you,
Mm-hmm.
and players can't carry you until, like, I would love to see some of the I know we see it on the FIBA stages, but I would love to see more and more of these young girls go into these circuits as teams, right? Like, I would love to
Mm-hmm.
see Exodus Europe style teams come in and play against some of these top teams um, in AAU and outskill them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because, like you said, Australia teams play hard.
Hard. Yep.
Hard. I got a kid on my team, Athena Thompson, who plays for the Great Britain national team. She was top five in the FIBAs, but her entire team played hard. They
Mm-hmm.
played hard. Um, Finland, right? Like I think that Finland team, the U16 team, they played ultra hard. Go look at the Belgium game in the Olympics on the women's side.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk hard? That's why it was so close. It
Right.
was. I mean, they were just out. It was out skill. I won't say completely out coached, but there was definitely running some things that the U.S. had to just figure out, and eventually Brianna Stewart just had to out Brianna Stewart. And
Right.
like if we don't have those type of elite players,
Yep.
again, it might be in trouble. But luckily for us, we got those kind of players. But
Mm-hmm.
who knows how long that's going to be?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, how long do we really keep relying on our talent? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, when is it gonna be like a wave of like? Because I feel like I think somebody said it in the comments like we have the talent, we
Oh,
just don't
for
got the IQ.
sure.
Like we don't have the understanding of the game. Like they have. It's like if they working hard or playing hard, eventually their talent is going to catch up with us. You know what I'm saying? Because they already got the foundation of thinking the game at a very young age. So now it's kind of like, do you see a point to where the gaps get closed and they maybe surpass us in the future? Maybe not like here in the next couple of years, but like maybe 5, 6 years down the road.
That that 5 year window, man, a lot can happen. A lot
Mm-hmm.
can happen in that 5 year window. But more so, a lot can happen within the 5 year window to set up the next 5 years, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you will you're gonna have. I mean, if you think, I mean, let's just look on the men's side. If you think, Victor Wembanyama just came out of nowhere at
Right.
size and structure, there's gonna be a phenomenon of a young lady that stands about 6'5", maybe, and he's doing literally everything you do on a basketball court,
Right.
right? Like 6'6", maybe even taller. So like we may be in that space where we start to get the physical to match the skills and the you on
Mm-hmm.
the side. And when that happens, because that's what's happening on the men's side.
Yep.
The reason why there's the top five players on the men's side is because the size has now started to skill and the IQ and the overall game. You will, while people want to call Giannis the most skillful player, but at his size and all of his physical traits,
Mm-hmm.
that started to match his game. Like people forget, Luka's a clean about 6'7",
Yep.
maybe 6'8". Like it's a big dude. So it ain't just his physical, his mental and game and his skill, but like he's a fairly big dude.
Right.
Jokic, Victor, it goes on, and so once that starts to happen physically on the women's side, that's where you're gonna see some shift.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do we have it completely right now? No, not yet.
Right.
But um, be on the lookout because, like I also said, is a number of skilled players from Africa building that skill. I got a kid named Taco that is, all of 6'4", and,
Mm-hmm.
and she's played three up until coming here to the U.S.
Right.
Played three, played the three over there. Like so, she can dribble it, she can shoot it, she can do a number of things, and now she's coming over here, and I'm helping her build the IQ part of it. She puts it all together. It's going to be trouble for a few years
What
for her. So
what class she?
26,
Ooh.
26.
Hold up now. Where you at? You outside? You outside? What you doing?
He look like he outside.
Man, I'm at dinner.
Bro, why you calling us and you at dinner?
What you say?
Why you calling us and you at dinner?
Man, I can talk. I can talk.
Oh, okay.
I can talk, bro.
Okay.
What's the topic? I was listening in a little bit.
Okay, okay. Got a question. It said, would you recruit an average player who does the little things, or a 30-point scorer who does the little small, who doesn't do the small things?
It, it depends on who the kid is. I mean, it depends. You know what I mean? Because look at Rory. Rory don't try to put up a lot of points,
Yeah,
but she do all the. Rory gonna do all the dirty work,
yeah, yeah,
But them kids,
and she will be drafted.
them kids that can do some of that dirty work, they can also get you 30 too.
that's
They can
what
get you
I'm
30
Oh
saying.
no,
every
no, don't get it twisted. Rory can get 30
Right.
points.
right, right. So I'm with you. I'm with you. Them a lot of those kids that are willing to sacrifice and do all that dirty stuff, they they know they can get 30. They know they can get 30. You know. So I'm gonna always take a kid that is gonna put it down and sacrifice doing the little stuff. But what did we talk about earlier? You can't substitute a dog for
So
you know
it said,
you can't
hey, mute yourself, Will. All right, go ahead.
Where Will at?
He
he's
outside somewhere. I don't.
he's um no, I was just saying you can't replace scoring. Like you can't like while we will all take, I think we will all agree we'll take a kid that got all the intangibles, right? And
Right.
that can probably get you 25, 30. If there's a kid that consistently will put up the buck, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna find
Hey,
you are not gonna look away and be like,
yup,
man, I
yup.
I ain't I ain't
I'm
feeling like
telling you, bro. Like, if you could put the ball in the hole, bro, there's a spot for you on the team
that's a
somewhere.
fact. That's a fact.
It just is what it is. Like, coaches can say that, people can say that. At the end of the day, if you know how to put the ball in the hole, a coach is gonna give you a shot because that's rare. That's rare. Like, you don't find too many that know how to put the ball in the hole. Like people say, it's a lot of scores. It's a difference. Like you may get to the next level, you may just be a catch and shooter. That's still putting the ball in the hole to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So it ain't necessarily got to be ISO all the time.
I'm
Maybe.
gonna take that kid. I'm gonna take that kid that can do all the intangibles. But when you got a kid that again you can pretty much check that off every time. She got 25 to 30 every single time.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. We taking that kid first.
Exactly.
We taking that kid first.
Yep.
We take.
It says Americans need to do more camps for the youth. It will change a lot. Start the youth off how FIBA Euro does. I don't necessarily agree with that because I think we do host a lot of camps, and I guess most of those are really money grabs in a sense. Like we don't necessarily do them like the Eurobasket does. Like I feel like we do camps, but like it's not a lot of camps that like, oh, like this is gonna help me get better. Like if I keep going this year after year, it's not a lot of camps
But
like
you
that.
tell me, bro. What are we doing at those camps? Like, what are we doing? And again, I'll pose that to y'all. And all the
Okay.
camps I've been to, right? I'm sure y'all been to plenty around the country, right? Texas, wherever have you. What are we really doing at those camps
Uh,
besides besides trying to find out who looks a little better than who
yeah.
on
Ash, you wanna go?
Ask that question again.
what are we exactly doing at those camps? Like, for whoever said the U.S. needs to do more camps. Um, I think that there's a question that maybe we need to ask ourselves: what are we doing at some of these elite camps? Like,
I
what are we
don't
doing?
think you need to do more
How
camps
do,
though.
Me either. Yeah.
I don't think.
I don't.
Hell, I
I
think
don't
half the camps that are done are pointless. So I don't
so
think.
yeah.
I don't think you need to
I
do
don't
more.
think camps is. I don't think camps is the answer.
AP. That's so funny.
yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know
off
about
topic.
camp, but like I don't know, like because again, I'm not going to badmouth no camp because I've been to several, some pretty good ones, but I to your point, like you can pretty much check off a laundry list of camps. You were like, yo, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
money,
Right.
money, there's money.
Somebody collecting the check.
Somebody making big dough, big
Yeah.
dough. You know, lot of there's a lot of camps, and the way they do it in Europe is entirely different. There's literally stages of it
Send
that they
your
get.
request.
There's stages of camps that they do
Yeah,
overseas. So
I agree
uh,
with that.
Yeah.
I think camp is used so loosely. Everybody's running
Mm,
a camp. Like, yeah, it's too many camps going on.
yeah.
mhm.
I don't think camps is the answer. Just because I think like we already people in their mind already got stigma of
Yo,
it's a money grab. What
can
up,
you hear
bro?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead. You could finish what you were saying.
Oh no, that was it really. I just think like when people think of camps, especially in the US, like I think at the end of the day, people think of like, oh, it's a money grab. Like it ain't really unless you just
When
know
I was
somebody in that camp.
true. What I was saying is the reason why I said camps. I wasn't talking about like a money grab camps. I understand y'all point of view. Y'all got a point because when y'all was saying some of them camps are money grabs, and then just like my man right here at the bottom said, he was like, "What are we doing at these camps?" I was looking at it more so because even when I went overseas, I saw them doing camps, but they was doing it for the right causes, like teaching them discipline, fundamentals, like actually, like showing them ways how to be coachable. Like they was doing things that matters for a player, like for the young age and getting older and everything. But over here, y'all do got a point. It's usually money grabs. I was
Hmm.
speaking in the sense of like you can teach these players how to be coachable. You could discipline them. Like you could actually start them early. But nowadays, it's like we don't do it. But then we so focus on what you said earlier, like isolating, like a lot of ISO ball and
Hmm.
all of this. That's all we see. Like it's literally when I look at the American ball, we got the talent, but it's so ISO based. But then when you look at Europeans, we talk about how they not on our level and stuff. I just watched the Olympics, and he was talking about Serbia. Serbia in a close game with the Team USA, and they got the best players in the world.
Yep.
So you would never know.
Mhm.
Serbia mess around and beat an NBA team. If they can compete with Team
Yep.
USA alone, they can beat an NBA team.
Yep.
So that just shows they don't have to be as talented. Everybody's in sync, meaning like
Hmm.
everyone is coachable, everybody's playing a role, everybody's finding their niche on the team. So just like how he was saying, I'll take a player that's intangible, like that do all the intangibles, which is very important. Don't get me wrong. Like he said, if you can score consistently 30, I understand. Like you're going to have a spot on the team, like you said, if it's consistent.
Yep.
But we got players who can actually give you 25 plus, but still go on the other end of the floor and still do their job.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they'll
Or
shot.
you got players who can actually score that, but they're not having a good night. So let me impact the game in other ways if I'm not having a good night. So a lot of
Right.
players nowadays don't have that sacrifice mindset
Yep.
because all they
Hmm.
want to do is score. So like, are we really taking a player who just want to score? Because everybody's not going to have a good night. You could be consistent and still have one bad night.
Right.
Are you able to sacrifice? Meaning, okay, let me go defend real quick. Let me go box out. Let me try to playmate. Let me do something that's going to make me stay out on the floor. Let me be motivational to my teammates. Like these are things and intangibles that actually make you stay on the floor longer. And
Hmm.
coaches just don't pay attention to like in my opinion, I feel like certain coaches don't pay attention to just scoring. We know you can score. A lot of players can put the ball in the hoop, whether you like it or not. But can they do everything else? Meaning, like, are you very aware? Are you going to run the floor? Like, are you willing to be coachable? Is you going to be self-disciplined? Like, these are things that they look at. Or in layup lines, like, is y'all like sweating? Like, what are you doing in layup lines? Like, is y'all taking everything seriously? Like, is
Hmm.
we engaged with the program? Them are things that coaches like actually be looking at, but players think they don't be looking at that. They be goofing off, just doing whatever.
Yeah.
So I look at them type of things like we should be showing better examples of that. Like we should be displaying leadership. Like we don't got to yell the leadership stuff, but we can lead by example in a variety of ways. And I
Gotcha.
feel as though we don't do it here. At least I know somewhere in America they definitely do, but it's swept
Right.
under the rug. We mostly see like basically AAU play.
Hmm.
Like everybody want to ISO. We want to talk about this player getting 40 or whatnot. That's cool and all, but how many shots did they take to get it?
Yeah.
Like we ain't talking about how many shots they took to get it. We ain't talking about we see this on this film, but he walking back on defense.
Right.
Like we see this on this film, but he not listening to his coach, his teammates. Like we're not talking about stuff like that, but we will talk about the great stuff they're doing, which is cool, it's cute and all, but it's like, what else are we doing to hold this player accountable? Like what are we actually teaching them
Right.
besides just, oh yeah, we can put the ball in the hoop. So like I do agree, like camps can be money grabs, but if I'm doing a camp, I'm not looking at it as a money grab. I'm looking at it as a development. Like I
True.
want these, I
But
want
can
these
you?
youth to develop. Meaning,
So you think you can develop at a camp?
yes, but it depends on who. It depends on what camp. Like it also depends on who hosting the camp too.
I think
Because like I said, I can't speak. I can't speak for every camp though. If I'm being
True.
honest, I can't speak for every camp because
I think
think about it, we're in America,
you
so
can do it.
we get exposed to different things, right? So I can say I can do this for my camp, but you can have a different philosophy on how you do your camp.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
what if both our philosophy works? But then you got this other person who's advocating this, but don't follow the instructions of what he's advocating. So we really can't project that on what our philosophy was because our philosophy actually worked. But this person's philosophy was similar, but it was like, okay, it more so could have been a money grab, but it didn't work. But then we're trying to project it on what we did that actually, you know what I'm saying, persevered, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Coach, you said you was about to say something?
No, I think you know. I think that's a great point. I think if you could find a way to do camps like real camps in stages, because you can't like just think about it, y'all. You can't like how much development can you do over a 4 hour period? You know what I'm saying? Like development comes over time. You gotta go apply. You gotta have a chance to go apply it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
True. And you
And
gotta
you
have
got
more consistent days too, not just oh 1 day count.
right.
Like
Right.
when I was
You got
yeah,
to be able to. You got to come back and be able to. You got to come back and be able to view the things that you were just showing and applying, and then come back and
exactly.
say, "Well, this is where we were last time." Again, it could be over. It could be over a quarterly point during the year, right? Spring,
Right.
summer, whatever it is. Um, but if you have it on a stages type of level, then that's where I think you get development out of those camps. I do think that a lot of the camps that we have is like, well, it's an iron sharp as iron type camp where
Yeah.
we
Mm-hmm.
best of the best, and let me just and you can get some of that. Like, don't get me wrong, you can get something out of that. But
Right.
develop
Right. Certain
real
camps.
development is a little different. It's a little different.
Gotcha.
I, I, could- I,
Hey,
could, I, could, I could respect that. I could respect that point of view. I actually kind of agree with that. I was
I
just
want
saying
to
all
ask
camps
you,
not the same.
what
My
did
bad. My bad.
no, I was gonna ask you when you seen the camps overseas, what did they look like compared to the American camps over here?
So when I was over there, I saw a lot of like some of these players, like the kids, they had like it was like a little like the overhead screens. So
Mm-hmm.
they was actually showing them videos of like footages, like how when we in film room and
Right.
like we're dissecting like certain things that we got to go over. Like, all right, we watching our game and then we looking at it as okay, we made a mistake here. Now we gotta fix that. We gotta go back to practice and adjust to this now, so we gotta have a better strategy for next game. Like they're looking at, they had them watching certain stuff, like so that way it could pick their muscle memory on okay, these are the things we should not do, but
Mm-hmm.
these are the things we got to transition into doing. Now then after that, now they're going into transitioning of like fundamentals, and but then it was also explaining like like leadership, discipline. They was doing all of that like in a matter like for like a good how many he said like 4 hours.
Yeah, about
They was doing
Yeah.
it for like a good
four,
4 to 5. But like what you say?
yeah, say about 4 hours.
Yeah,
About
so
four
like
hours.
I'd say about 4 to 5. The time zone different. So
Yeah.
like over there it was like more so morning, but like they had these kids sitting down actually studying. Like, but
Mm.
I don't see that a lot in America. Like when I was over there, they had these kids actually watching the overhead, and they can see the basketball environment of different styles of play, but they also seeing how when youth do. So when they see another kid work hard, they kind of get in competition. Like, okay, I see how this person doing this
Right.
or this person doing this. So okay, now if I could do this a little slightly better, I'll be able to master this. Like they're looking at things, they're actually determined to do exactly what that video is saying. But the video is basically showing like fundamentals, just explaining like how they teach the youth. But when they see
Okay.
stuff like that, they can actually transition into
Right.
okay, all of this is muscle memory and experience.
They
Now
doing
they
the
can yeah, they can actually help their brain like develop in a way because now
yeah
they're taking notes. And a lot of times, like film, film. In my opinion, I'm pretty sure y'all all agree, film room is very important and it's
epic.
very underrated.
Yep.
Like players
I don't watch
nowadays watch
film enough.
highlights. Yeah, they watch highlights. Like I get it. You want to post your highlight, it's cool and all, nice clip. Because I was a victim of that. I posted nice clips, but one thing I did do, the difference is I post my nice clips, but I wouldn't be afraid to post progress, like
Mm-hmm.
because the progress
I like
shows
that.
I'm actually tuned in. I'm actually tuned in to my footage. Like, let me watch this film. Okay, I know what I did wrong. Now we're gonna make adjustments at practice, because practice is where you want to mess up at, because practice is going to help you neutralize some of the mistakes in the game.
Right.
So these are the things that I'm actually learning. So when I seen that over there, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, we don't have this much in America, but it'd be hard to explain it because a lot of people in certain areas, they either like not disciplined enough, or they don't look at it as, we ain't taking that serious. They just want to
Mm-hmm.
do what they see on TV. Like,
Yeah.
that's not for the average Joe. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't be, you know what I'm saying? Everybody can't be Kyrie. Everybody can't be
Yeah.
Steph. And they look at the next chapter and all that. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect to what they're doing, but it's like, y'all seeing all of this stuff. That's not really basketball. It's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
That's for views.
Right.
If y'all want to look at stuff, let's look at college practices. Let's look at, you know what I'm saying? Let's look at actual videos to where that's going to help transition your mind. Like, if I'm really watching college practices. Like, I'm looking at how they're coaching. I'm looking at how before they even start practice, they're stretching and then they get into drills.
Right.
Like, they're doing fundamental work. Like, them are the things that we should actually be looking at. Like,
Yeah.
so that's just me. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Gotcha.
see that a lot.
So they do more of an intellectual type training.
Yeah, and I be seeing it. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was in the Middle East, so I saw that, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, Dad, they really like teaching them, like not only from the mental standpoint, but actually visual, mental, and physical. So if you can apply all of that, everything can be in sync. Now you'll be able to move forward, and they
To
wouldn't
real quick,
be as. Go ahead.
well, I don't mean to cut you off, brother.
No, you good.
What
I'm
you
all ears.
mentioned you mentioned something about film. I think that's I do, and I've been physically at spaces where they're incorporating that. I do think that's another aspect of development, early development, uh, is watching film, right? Watching
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing and applying it on the floor, or watching the right way it's done versus the wrong way, or watching it the wrong way versus the right.
Right.
I think that's the aspect that you can start to incorporate. We're all different learners, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Yeah.
especially young kids, so I think as we start to incorporate all those different ways of learning, I do think film is ultra helpful. I was listening to Rondo talk the other day highly about, he's a high level film guy. And he didn't have a ton of skills in terms of like just being a flat out scorer. Could he score? Sure, but
Right.
a lot of work was done before the game. A lot of
Right.
Mm-hmm.
work was
And
done.
He's a sacrifice player. Like what Rondo did, I remember seeing what he was talking about. He even said himself, like, we have too many scoring guards. Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I don't have nothing against it. But it's like, y'all taking the traditional role that you're actually supposed to play at this position, y'all making it into a small forward or a shooting guard type of role. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's no way, like this is my opinion. There's no way you're a point guard. You're getting 30 points, but you got 5 turnovers, 1 assist. Like, what? And then your
Yeah.
field goal percentage is like under 40. That's terrible
Yeah.
for a guard. That's I don't understand that. Like, you can't be this high level guard, but your percentage is not even above average. Then
Right.
your assist to turnover ratio is terrible. How does that even make sense?
Mm.
Yeah.
But
But
then
I
they try to compare, like, oh my bad, go ahead.
go ahead. Oh no, no. I was about to actually like kind of change the topic a little bit, just because I think this has a play when it comes to overseas or international players coming over here. Due to the NIL rule, like a lot of
Right.
overseas international players can't receive NIL deals. So, kind of with that being said, like as far as like the college area, like I think that's why you see a lot of international players being able to come at that college phase and being able to play just because at the end of the day it's free labor. I mean they get school, but they're not able to get those deals like the American players are.
Hey,
When I look at that,
my almighty U.S. dollar.
You
it's
said what?
crazy when you
I
talk.
said the almighty U.S. dollar, man. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you want to be truthful, like the international players, they get benefits though. Like international people, they be getting like certain types of benefits that you would think that aren't like people like us that's indigenous here,
Mm-hmm.
we should be getting that. But these internationals, they get more benefits. So even if they're not getting that NIL deal, they still getting other benefits as
That's
long with the
still
wrong
though.
country.
That NIL bread though. Like think about I don't even know. Think about if Luca went to the freaking NCAA and he wasn't able to get NIL. Like he be missing out on so much bread. Like
Yeah, his school would be paid for though because he's from international.
right. But no, I'm saying like they get in school for free, but it's like you're not able to make that same cash or
You won't
brand deal
get the
as
same benefits as the
yeah,
people
like
that was born
it's like
here.
yeah, we hooping, like we live in our dream, we hooping, but we not able to really bring those capitalize on the dollar NIL space. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, Zach Edey, like just thinking about those type of players at the end of the day, I just think that makes it like shit easy at the end of the day.
Difficult.
Like
Do you think it's like difficult for them for the international people that's not getting NIL, or it just depends on the like player, the international player?
uh, I think it just depends on the situation. I mean, most players are gonna be just excited just to be over here at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna be excited for the opportunity, but at the end of the day, it's just like everybody wants everybody want equal opportunity at the end of the day. That's what they come over here for. So
That Canada space is different, man. That Canada space is especially on the men's side, right? Like, I think I think the coldest dude in the league is easily Shea,
oh,
bro.
absolutely.
Coldest, the absolute coldest. Um, but again, like there's in that mid level ground, there's a number of very impactful players um, that you're going to see, and you're going to see that on the women's side, and you're going to see that this coming year. Um, there's I was watching. I'm doing a scout for. We're about to play Lincoln in that She Got Game, Tony. But we on this weekend, and I'm watching Crestwood.
Mm-hmm.
School called Crestwood out in Canada. I mean, and they're good. I mean, good. So and as good, and I'm talking about good individually in terms of girls that can just go get a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's time to move the ball and run some things, I saw some special things there. So again, that Canada space is again, we ain't closed the gap completely, but man, they are
You think that close?
they they're intentional about getting close. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think individually there's going to be girls that you're going to be able to put right up there,
Mm.
right next
Yeah.
to some of those star players here, just like the men. But as group, as a full group, um, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming, man. It's Canada's in a good space right
You
now.
said something about Shea, right?
Yeah, he the coldest.
I think Shea is a great example of I think a player should watch Shea. I think players should watch Shea. If I'm being honest, I
Right.
think players should take advice from Shea just because Shea they might look at it as okay, Shea gets to the money, but they don't realize what Shea do or how efficiently he does it. And he played both ends of the floor
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and is a leader. Shea will give you 30 off us, like not that many shots, but then he will give you defensive effort on the other end.
Yeah.
On top of shooting a high percentage from the free throw line
Yeah.
and still trusting his teammates. And he averaged over 5+ assists.
Yeah, it looks effortless, definitely.
Like them things right there alone, we wouldn't even pay attention to that. We'd go look at players like no disrespect to Luca, but we'd go look at Luca. Luca would take so many shots, but he won't give no effort on defense. Jalen Green, another example. He's taking 40 shots to get 30, but then we gonna look at the 30 like, oh yeah, it's all cool and all. He had 30, but we ain't gonna look at the Shays of the world. We ain't gonna look at players like Kawhi or Kevin Durant that plays efficient and still will give you effort on the other end of the floor. And is a basketball savant. These players actually pay attention to detail.
Gotcha. It said, gotta ask this question. It said, do y'all feel like the three ball is being utilized in today's game, low key ruining the game for our youth to learn off of?
No,
The
I
three
don't.
ball,
I don't.
I
Yeah.
think
I,
shooting
I don't.
a lot of threes. Go ahead.
You said what?
Go ahead. Who was speaking?
No,
Who was
no.
going?
No. What I was gonna say is like, if we're just looking at the main stage, right, which is the NBA, and if that's
Uh-huh.
paying attention to, then I mean, if that's what you're showing your kids, that's this is what it should look like. Then yeah, you're gonna ruin a lot of development, a lot of people's development for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there is a like the 3 point it ain't going nowhere. The 3 point line ain't going nowhere. So we got to teach it. We got to be able to shoot it, right? So you got to
Mm-hmm.
be able to add that as a part of your actual development in terms of just as a basketball player. So I don't think it's ruining anything. I think what happens is we start to sensationalize this idea of you know um, other parts of the offensive game being worse than the 3 point shot, like the three
Right.
point in the best or and once you start talking that kind of nonsense, that's where you lose me, because you'll never be able to tell me that um, three is more than two, but you're not going to be able to tell me that the mid range game or other parts of the game, your short corner or other areas of the floor,
Not high percentage shots. They
yeah,
don't.
you're
Them
never
are
going
high percentage
to.
shots.
I don't care what.
I don't like how I don't like the 3 point volume now. Like they're shooting 50 plus. That's insane.
50
Then
plus, 60 plus. They
yeah, like I
somebody
saw the
gonna hit
percentages for
70,
Boston.
hit
Boston
70.
was shooting like Boston as a team was shooting like 50 plus. That is insane. And I look at that, that kind of does ruin the pace of the game because now it's like all you see is run and gun. These same teams shooting all these threes, but then going at the free throw line, they can't hit free throws,
Yeah.
barely can finish in the paint. You take them off the three, they can't shoot no mid range, no floater. Like, so what we're teaching, we're not even teaching an all around aspect of the game. We're just teaching them, let's just run and gun. If you can hit
Mm-hmm.
threes, it don't even matter. And these same people that shooting threes, they're only shooting in one favorite spot. They're not shooting all around. Like
Right.
back then, you had players like Kyle Korver and JJ Redick and them. They're moving without the ball to get in different spots of opening of threes. They're not coming down just, all right, we're just going to shoot it immediately. We're going to come
Right.
down and run this set. And we're going to make sure the people that can space and shoot the three move without the
Right.
ball. Nowadays, it's either a one pass swing or we're just going to pull up this far three just because we see it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back then, they talk about how, yeah, they didn't shoot the three as much. The only people that were shooting as many threes was the 3 point shooters.
Right.
But you've seen a lot of mid-range games. You've seen a lot of posting up. You've seen a lot of screen and rolls. If the big play drop coverage, you got a little floater, a little mid-range. Now you just see 3 points, like a lot of threes. I have not
Mm-hmm.
seen a game this season more layups than threes. I've literally been seeing all threes, which is why I like college ball and I like watching Euro because they're running sets to get
Mm-hmm.
to the basket. If they can't get to the basket, now they're going to do a little swing, swing, swing. If it's open, we'll take it.
Right. Nah, that makes sense. Like I said, I don't think it's necessarily ruining the game. I just think the approach
Mm-hmm.
is ruining the game. I think like when you start out, like a lot of people not starting out under the basket, form shooting, starting out in mid range, mastering the mid range. I don't think they're moving out. I think they're starting at the 3 point line. At the end of the day, they'll do some finishing and then they go straight to the 3 point line.
Man, hey,
Like
y'all
I
ever
don't
went
think
to the
it's like
gym?
a cut foundation of like this is how you're supposed to start. Whereas we're layups, like you do a bunch of mic injuries, you do a bunch of different type of finishes, like to master under the basket. Like I don't think people understand like to master shooting, like you literally start close to the goal.
1,000.
So I think like
Absolutely.
I don't think people understand that concept. Even some trainers that teaching basketball, like I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they
Yeah.
understand the concept. Like I think they focus on like, yeah, we focusing on shooting, but like I don't think players would focus on 2 months, we're not getting outside of the 3 point line. We're literally going to master this mid range, in the paint, touch shooting, form shooting, inside the painted area. Then we'll get outside the painted area a little bit. And then after this time period, when I feel like you making shots on a regular basis, then you able to move out to the three. Like I don't think like people are going through that process. I think they'll go do the form shooting, do the mid range, go straight to the threes. Like your form isn't locked. Your foundation of your shot isn't mastered or isn't locked by the time. So now you're still heaving it. You're not actually shooting it from those positions.
The crazy part is I can agree to that. Like y'all ever go to the gym nowadays? What's the first thing people do when they get the rebound? They go straight to the three.
Yeah.
Straight to the
They
three.
literally go straight to the three. Like they get the rebound, go straight to the three. Like players worry about so much about range, but they never worry about touch.
Yep.
Touch is probably the most important thing when you're shooting a shot anyway.
Yep.
So if
That's
you
a
don't got
fact.
no touch, it's pointless. If you're
Yep.
not working on touch, it's pointless. I'm gonna just keep it
That's a
real.
fact.
Like you gotta have touch at the free throw line. You gotta have touch for layups. You gotta have touch for dunks. Touch for shooting in general. Like these
Yep.
are things they don't work on. Like nowadays, like I said, I see people get a rebound, go to the three. And like you said, they start from the mid range. It's cool. Like because I shoot when I go in the gym, I shoot mid range shots,
Right.
or I just go in or shoot free throws. Like I'm shooting shots that we need.
Right.
Players nowadays they just going to the three. But you see the game nowadays. If you can't shoot threes, you're nothing. But these are the same players that can't hit free throws.
Yeah. That's a
They
fact.
shoot. They like I watched Wimby go 1 for 10 from three, and I'm just like, bro,
Dang.
you're set. Like it was a game like he really went 1 for 10 for three, and I'm just like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind shooting threes. Just like you mean to tell me you got 3 rebounds, you went 1 for 10 from three. You mean to tell me you can't go in the paint and get a few bucks? Easy.
Yeah, that's crazy. One for
Like what
ten
are we
from free
doing?
throw line is crazy.
It don't like that's inconsistent. Like if I'm 7'5", I'm not saying I'm gonna get every single layup, but I should get majority layups rather
Yeah.
than just shooting 10 threes. Like
Yeah.
it don't make sense. And then I heard a video. I heard like older players like was it Robert Ory? It was like a few older guys. They were saying like they took away the post up, the elbow game,
Mm-hmm.
like the big go to the block and then person go to the elbow. Like they took away that game concept. Now it's like to be honest, I know a lot of coaches and everything be saying it's more spacing now. But if you really think about it, I look at that block and elbow game. I think it was way more spacing when they did that because now you could transition into moving. If I go to the
Mm-hmm.
block, you could go straight to that free throw or that elbow. Now that player can go wing, and I can outlet it to him if I get double teamed down in the paint. Now we can
Right.
just interchange. Nowadays, it's just a 4 out or it's a 5 out.
Yeah.
So what is really the spacing?
Yeah.
If
That's a
nobody
fact.
moving. They're just standing there. So if you go to the 3 out, 2 in, now I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the free throw line. Now if I swing to the free throw, I can swing to the wing. I can go to the block now. Now that person go to the opposite block, and then two guards switch at the top. You're actually having better movement, and you got more options.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's just 4 out, 5 out. I'm gonna just try to get in my bag, and then I'm gonna try to swing, or I'm gonna take this step back three. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shoot, man. Y'all got anything else, man? Shit, I think we touched on
Now we touched on
pretty,
quite
yeah, quite a bit.
that's what quite a bit, G. This was fun, man. I mean, I think we can talk shop about basketball um, at all levels, but I
Right.
also I think a common theme, and at least in what I heard in tonight's discussion, the right development.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think, you know, none of us are going to not support USA basketball and because we've all grown up in it. But I also think we recognize that this is a much more worldly game now at this point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, you know, again, the Olympics can just tell you, again, on both sides, men's, women's, anything can happen. And if
Right. Yeah.
you're not primed and ready, if your players aren't prepped and ready, um, you can fall victim to that L. And so I think the right kind of development as we move on in the future is key, man. And I'm here for it, but I appreciate it, man. Quick shout out to Shout out to girls. Know all the girls was watching. They upstairs in the dorm was watching.
Okay.
Um, shout out to the girls. PSA. Shout out to Boston. Shout out to Stitch Run. Shout out to 94.
Okay.
Shout out to my 94 feet family. I know they're watching. Um, uh, uh, and shout out to my youngins. I got two girls myself, two daughters. So
Okay.
Right.
one of them's older. I know she might be tapped in and watching too. So, but this was fun, man. Let's do it.
Got you. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate joining as well. Though I'm glad you gave me a chance to explain because I just
Oh
wanted
yeah.
to, I just wanted to clarify my due diligence. The only reason why is because I just wanted to make sure like we all had a clear understanding and comprehension to
Right.
what was being applied. Because like that's why I said like philosophies is everybody's not the same. Like I'm pretty sure we all play ball, but we got different environments of where we grew up. So you might know more than I might know in this particular aspect, and then Ash might know something I don't know, or I might know something she don't know. You know what I'm saying? We just grew up
Hmm.
in a different environment, but as long as if we can actually comprehend, cooperate, and I was like, okay, everything is in sync.
Yeah.
That's
One.
facts.
You said what?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you said something. All right. We
I
at
She
just said
five.
that's
said
fair.
something, man. She
I said that's fair.
she said she said facts.
All right. Y'all want to answer this question real quick before y'all get off?
What's the question?
What's the
I can't
question?
even see the comments.
Uh,
Yeah, I
it
can't either.
says another question. Where do y'all see the evolution of AAU as a whole collective in today's game, or even in the near future?
Oh, oh my God. Don't get me started. But
Yeah.
who asked that question? I can't even see it. But I
Uh,
think
it's Lex Bent. She asked that, didn't she? Coach Lex.
Yeah, yeah,
I, I think AAU is a mess right now. I think, of course, you need AAU. Like I do think that is where a lot of kids get looked at the end of the day. Like, and
hmm,
everything is called AAU. So summer ball, whatever the case may be. But I think it's all over the place. And
right,
if you want me to be honest, I think it's gonna get worse. Like until there is a governing body, until there's something just like other sports, just like volleyball, just like soccer, AAU basketball is going to get worse. Anybody can start an AAU team. It don't matter. You don't gotta have no credentials, no nothing. You can just start a team.
yeah,
So anybody can start an AAU team, and I feel like that hurts the game. So hopefully it gets
hmm,
better, but I don't see it getting better without a governing body, without something,
I'm not a fan
some
of
rules,
AAU. I'm not
some
gonna lie.
something.
I I already told y'all the first time I joined. I'm like, man, I'm not a fan of AAU, man. I just
yeah,
don't like. I don't like the style of play. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's good reps. Like, y'all basically, if y'all want to be honest, the only difference is just the clock there and just put some rest there. Y'all doing the same thing that you got to part. You got rest in it. So, I'm just not a fan of AAU. Just the style of play. That's the only thing. That's
gotcha.
just
Okay.
me. But you do see talented players. You're going to see more talented players, obviously. So the same players, like Ash said before, like the same players that's playing in high school that's top players, they might be in competition with the same player that's the top player at their high school. So,
Yeah,
so you're not really seeing no correlation of balance. I'm not really a fan of AAU.
yeah. All right, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, I just wanted to ask that last question. You know what I'm saying? Want to make sure everybody feel important, man. You know what I'm saying? Come to the live, man. But yeah, no, I appreciate y'all getting on. Until then, until Sunday, we got to catch up. Y'all the time in. Got some good topics to talk about Sunday. So
You is breaking
tune
up
in
so
Sunday.
bad.
Is it?
Yeah. Sorry guys, I wasn't as active today.
Get off.
Yeah,
Oh, get
that's
off of
kind of
my.
yeah. That's very ironic. Ash have energy. What's going on?
No, I just been working literally. That's why I kept getting off calls, turning my camera off because I was getting on calls. I was trying to finish up some work. I just I'm
Hmm. I'm about to say, did somebody they trying to get you to crash out, Ash? Because you was not good with energy today.
You said what?
I said, was they trying to get you to crash out? Because you did not have the energy today that you usually do.
No, I was trying, I was in the middle of work. So I was trying to hop
Oh,
on
okay, okay.
to show some love to my guy.
You know what I'm saying? That's all love. All right, man.
Anyway.
I'm out of here.
All right.
All right, now.